There is a conversation happening right now that you are not part of. It is happening between a woman and her closest friend. And in that conversation, she is saying things about you, about your relationship, about what she really wants and what she is really feeling that she has never said to your face and probably never will. This is not an accusation. This is not an attack on women. This is Machiavelli. Machiavelli spent his entire life studying the distance between what people say and what people mean, between the face they show the world and the machinery operating underneath it. He was not bitter about it. He was not angry. He was simply precise. And what he found was this: people do not lie because they are evil. They lie because the truth is expensive, because honesty carries risk, because in certain situations, the cost of saying what you actually feel is higher than the cost of saying something that keeps the peace, keeps the power, or keeps the door open just enough. Women are not more dishonest than men, but they are trained from childhood in a particular kind of social intelligence that produces a very specific category of communication. One where the words said and the words meant are two entirely different conversations happening simultaneously. Most men only hear the first conversation. What follows are 9 of the most common lies women tell men, not because women are manipulative, but because no one has ever given men a clear map of the terrain they are actually walking through. Machiavelli believed that a man who does not understand the real rules of the game he is playing will always lose to someone who does, regardless of how good his intentions are, regardless of how hard he tries. These are the real rules. Lay 1. I am fine. Of all the sentences in the human language, I am fine may be the single most consistently dishonest collection of 3 words ever assembled. And every man who has ever been in a relationship with a woman knows this on some level. You ask if something is wrong. She says, I am fine. You feel the temperature of the room drop by 10 degrees. You proceed with caution. Eventually something erupts that has nothing to do with what you asked about, but everything to do with the moment you accepted I am fine as a real answer. Here is what Machiavelli would tell you. I am fine is not a statement. It is a test. It is a woman's way of determining whether you know her well enough to see past what she is saying to what she is feeling. Whether you care enough to push, whether you are present enough to notice the gap between her words and her energy. When a woman says I am fine and means the opposite, she is not being irrational. She is applying a logic that is entirely consistent inside her emotional framework. The logic goes like this. If I have to explain to you that I am not fine, then you explaining it to me means nothing. Because a man who truly knows me should be able to see that I am not fine without being told. The fact that you cannot see it is itself the problem. This is frustrating to men because it feels like an unfair standard, but Machiavelli would not waste time arguing about whether the standard is fair. He would simply say, this is the game as it is actually played. Learn the rules or keep losing. What I am fine actually means in most cases falls into one of 4 categories. I am hurt and I want you to notice without me having to ask you to notice. I am testing whether you are emotionally present enough to push past the surface answer. I have already decided how I feel about this situation, and your response right now will confirm or deny that decision. I do not have the energy to explain something I feel you should already understand. None of these 4 meanings have anything to do with being fine. And the man who accepts I am fine at face value and moves on has just failed a test he did not know he was taking. Lie 2. I do not care who you talk to. And then you mentioned a name, or she saw a notification, or you came home 30 minutes later than expected, and suddenly the temperature changed. Machiavelli would identify this lie immediately because it falls into one of his central observations about human nature. He wrote that people will rarely tell you what they want directly when telling you directly creates vulnerability. Instead, they will give you the freedom to do the thing they do not want you to do, and then measure whether you choose to do it anyway. I do not care who you talk to is rarely about permission. It is about character assessment. She is not giving you freedom. She is watching what you do with it. A woman who says she does not care is often a woman who cares deeply, but has learned that expressing that care directly makes her appear insecure, controlling, or high maintenance. So she suppresses the expression of it. She hands you the rope, and she watches whether you are the kind of man who respects what you have, without needing to be told to respect it. This is not manipulation in the predatory sense. It is emotional intelligence operating in a world where direct communication of desire or jealousy is socially penalized. But the result for the man who takes the statement at face value is that he operates under false information. He believes he has been given genuine freedom when what he has actually been given is a values test with invisible criteria. Machiavelli was very clear on this point. The ruler who does not understand that his subjects will test him through apparent freedoms, rather than open challenges, will always be caught off guard by the consequences of those tests. You are not being given permission. You are being observed. This one is particularly complex because when she says it, she often means it. In that moment, at that stage, with the information she has at that point in time. But Machiavelli understood something fundamental about human desire that most people never articulate clearly. He understood that what people want and what people say they want shifts in direct proportion to the quality of what they encounter. A woman who has been hurt before will often genuinely believe she is not looking for anything serious. She has constructed an identity around independence, around keeping things light, around not repeating the vulnerability that previously cost her. And that construction is real. She is not lying consciously. But then something happens. She spends enough time with someone who makes her feel safe, seen, valued, and the construction begins to crack. Suddenly, she is thinking about the future in a way she told herself she would not. Suddenly, the casual arrangement feels insufficient. Suddenly, the things she said she did not want are the things she is quietly hoping for. And this creates a particular trap for men. Because the man who took "I am not looking for anything serious" at face value organized his behavior around that information. He did not invest heavily. He kept his options open. He operated within the stated terms. And now those terms have changed, but no announcement was made. The goalposts move silently, and he is being measured against new standards he was never told existed. Machiavelli would say this: never build your strategy entirely on what someone tells you they want in the early stages. Watch what their behavior reveals over time. The stated position is the opening move. It is rarely the final one. She said it with composure, maybe even with a smile. She told you she is completely over it, over him, over the situation. She has moved on and it no longer affects her. And then the name comes up in conversation, or a certain song plays, or a similar situation arises. That fraction of a second is the truth. "I have moved on" is one of the most socially necessary lies in human relationships, because the alternative, admitting that something still holds emotional real estate in you, feels like weakness, feels like losing, feels like giving the past power over the present. Machiavelli wrote about the danger of underestimating residual loyalties and wounds in those around you. He said a wound that appears healed on the surface but has not been fully resolved beneath it will resurface at the moment of greatest pressure and least expectation. The practical implication for relationships is significant. When a woman tells you she has moved on from a past relationship, a past hurt, a past version of herself, and that declaration comes too quickly, too cleanly, too completely, it is worth paying attention to what has actually been processed versus what has simply been suppressed. People move on at the speed of genuine grief, and genuine grief is slow, non-linear, and rarely as clean as a single statement makes it sound. This is not about distrust. It is about understanding that emotional history does not disappear when it is declared resolved. It goes underground, and underground things have a way of affecting the landscape above them without anyone being able to see exactly where the pressure is coming from. This one is delivered most often in one of two contexts: in a moment of conflict as a defense mechanism, or in the early stages of attraction as a positioning statement. In both cases, it is almost never entirely true. Independence is one of the most highly valued identities available to a woman in the modern world. The woman who does not need a man is positioned as evolved, strong, complete. The woman who admits need is positioned as desperate, weak, behind. So the statement "I do not need you" carries enormous social weight behind it, regardless of whether it reflects inner reality. Machiavelli understood the performance of power. He understood that people will often declare strength most loudly precisely when they feel it most fragile. A ruler who says he does not need allies is often the ruler most in need of them. The declaration is not a fact, it is a defense. When a woman says she does not need you in a moment of conflict, what she is often communicating is this: I am afraid of how much I actually do need this, and that fear is unbearable. So I am creating distance from it by declaring the opposite. The tragedy of this particular lie is that it often works too well. The man who hears "I do not need you" and believes it begins to withdraw. He stops pursuing. He stops showing up with the same intensity. He gives her the independence she declared she wanted, and she interprets that withdrawal as confirmation that he never truly cared. Two people moving away from each other because both are operating on a lie that neither one examined closely enough. Machiavelli would call this a strategic failure born from emotional illiteracy on both sides. She said it early. She was different, low maintenance, no drama. She preferred honesty. She hated games. She was not like the others. And you believed it, because it sounded like exactly what you had been looking for. Here is what Machiavelli would say about this. Every person believes they are the exception to the patterns that define others. This belief is not dishonesty. It is the natural result of only ever experiencing life from inside your own perspective. You cannot see your patterns from inside them. You can only see other people's. When a woman says she is not like other women, she is expressing a genuine belief about herself. She is also in almost every case wrong in at least some of the ways that matter most. Because the patterns that define human behavior in relationships are not personality quirks. The low-maintenance woman becomes high-maintenance when she feels unseen. The no-drama woman creates drama when she feels unsafe. The woman who hates games plays them when the stakes feel high enough. This is not hypocrisy. This is human nature encountering pressure. The Machiavellian lesson here is not to distrust the woman who says this. It is to understand that the early presentation of any person in any relationship is a best-case performance. Not a lie exactly, but a highlight reel. The full picture emerges over time under real conditions. Judge no one by who they are when things are easy. Judge them by who they become when things get hard. She said she is not mad. Her voice is even. Her face is controlled. Her words are measured and civil, but the air in the room has changed. The responses are shorter. The warmth has been dialed down to a precise clinical level. Every interaction is technically correct and emotionally absent. She is not mad. She is performing not mad while being mad with a precision and commitment that is genuinely extraordinary. Machiavelli spent significant time studying the management of emotion in political performance. He observed that the most dangerous emotional states were not the ones that exploded loudly, but the ones that were contained, managed, and strategically deployed. I am not mad at you is the verbal component of a much larger emotional performance. And the performance serves a very specific purpose. It transfers the burden of investigation onto you. If she says she is mad, you know what you are dealing with. You can respond to it directly. You can apologize, explain, defend, or engage. The conflict has a shape, but when she says she is not mad while being mad, the conflict has no shape. You cannot respond to something that has been officially denied. You are left investigating in the dark, running through every possible thing you might have done, watching for signals, trying to decode a situation that has been deliberately rendered opaque. This dynamic, frustrating as it is, serves a protective function for her. Admitting anger makes her vulnerable. It gives you the power to invalidate it, to tell her she is overreacting, to turn the conflict into a debate about whether her feelings are justified rather than addressing what caused them. By denying the anger while expressing it through behavior, she avoids that vulnerability. The anger is real. The denial is armor. Understanding this does not mean accepting the dynamic unchallenged, but it means responding to what is actually happening rather than what is being said. Machiavelli always insisted on engaging with reality as it is rather than as it is presented. This is the quietest lie on this list and the most dangerous. Not dangerous in the explosive sense, dangerous in the way that a slow leak is dangerous. By the time you notice it, something important has already been lost. I am happy in a relationship context is often said by women who have made peace with a version of the relationship that is significantly less than what they actually wanted. They have adjusted their expectations downward. They have told themselves that wanting more is unreasonable. They have decided that what they have is enough even when something deeper in them knows it is not. And so they say, I am happy because the alternative is a conversation they are not ready to have. A conversation that might unravel things, that might force a reckoning, that might confirm that the gap between what they have and what they want is too large to bridge. Machiavelli wrote about the particular danger of a population that appears content but carries a suppressed dissatisfaction beneath the surface. He said that such populations do not remain stable indefinitely. The same dynamic operates in intimate relationships. The woman who has been quietly unhappy for long enough, without ever naming it, reaches a threshold. And when she reaches that threshold, the departure is not announced in advance. It does not come with a warning or a final argument. It comes as a decision that feels sudden to the man, but has been forming slowly for months or years behind the words, I am happy. The cruelest irony of this lie is that it is often said with the intention of protecting the relationship. She does not want to create conflict. She does not want to seem ungrateful. She does not want to hurt you. So she says, I am happy, and she endures. And the endurance itself is what ultimately ends things. Pay attention not to whether she says she is happy. Pay attention to whether she seems it. This one is lighter, but it belongs on this list because it reveals something true about the category of social performance that all the other lies also belong to. She will not be ready in 5 minutes. She has never been ready in 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a number that exists to manage your impatience rather than to accurately describe her timeline. It is a social lubricant, a placeholder, a way of saying, I acknowledge you're waiting and I am offering you a number that makes it feel finite, even though we both know the number is aspirational at best. Machiavelli would smile at this one, because it perfectly illustrates his core observation about the gap between what people say and what they mean. Not every lie is strategic. Not every lie is self-protective. Some lies are simply the social machinery of living alongside other people without constant friction. The 5-minute lie is harmless, but it is part of the same operating system as all the other lies on this list. The system that says managing your perception of a situation is sometimes more important than giving you accurate information about it. Once you understand that this system exists, once you see the operating logic beneath it, everything becomes clearer, not darker, not more cynical, clearer. Here is what Machiavelli actually believed that most people who reference him never say. He did not think people were fundamentally dishonest. He thought people were fundamentally self-protective, and that self-protection in a social world produces communication that is layered, strategic, and rarely as simple as it appears on the surface. The 9 lies on this list are not evidence that women cannot be trusted. They are evidence that human beings in relationships operate under enormous pressures, that direct, honest communication cannot always survive without cost. The woman who says, I am fine instead of I am hurt is protecting herself from the vulnerability of needing something and not receiving it. The woman who says, I do not need you instead of I am terrified of how much I need you is protecting herself from the exposure that admission would create. The woman who says, I am happy instead of I am slowly disappearing is protecting the relationship from a conversation that might destroy it, even though the silence will destroy it more slowly. None of these are villainous. All of them are human. What Machiavelli would tell you is not to become bitter, not to become suspicious of every word spoken to you, not to turn every relationship into a chess match where you are constantly decoding hidden agendas. What he would tell you is to become fluent in the language beneath the language, fluent in the emotion beneath the words, fluent in the needs that express themselves sideways when they cannot come through the front door directly. A man who can hear I am fine and understand what is actually being communicated is not a man who has been manipulated. He is a man who has developed the emotional intelligence to engage with the real conversation rather than the surface one. Machiavelli said that the ruler who understands his people better than they understand themselves holds a power that no army can match. Not because he uses that understanding against them, but because he can meet them where they actually are rather than where they claim to be. Be that man in your relationships, not the man who is deceived by the surface, not the man who becomes cold and suspicious because the surface does not always tell the truth. But the man who is present enough, intelligent enough, and secure enough to see through to what is real and respond to that. That is the Machiavellian method applied not to conquest, but to connection. And it is the most powerful place a man can operate from in any relationship he will ever have. The men who understand this will never be blindsided by a woman who was calm and already gone, because they were paying attention to what she was not saying long before silence became the only thing left.